Conversion brings you into the book of remembrance. God will remember you at the end of the 1,000 years in the book of remembrance. But he will let you live and never die in the book of life. So he remembered Lazarus. And he said, though he were dead, yet shall he live. Then he has a conjunction there. And whosoever, not Lazarus, because Lazarus couldn't, but Lazarus would live because he was remembered. But Jesus said, whosoever liveth and believeth in me. Now we'll go back to that word believe. Believeth in me. He hears. Not just hears. He hears. She hears. Shall never die. Believest thou this? By this time they didn't know what they believed. Because Jesus was speaking over their head. He was speaking over their head. He was trying to get their attention. Because they were out there beating on him, so to speak, with their words. If you had been here, our brother would not have died. Right. And he was trying to show them, don't worry about that. Because your brother is in the book of remembrance, and though he's dead, yet shall he live. But I'm going to give you something to think about. Whosoever will live and believeth in me, he shall live and never die. He's dead. Lazarus is dead. But whosoever liveth and believeth in me gets the first resurrection in me, and he will live and never die. Believest thou this? She said, she didn't want to be embarrassed. I believe that thou art the Christ. I do believe that. The Son of God, which come into the world. She never did confess. She understood verse 26. But she said, yea, Lord, I believe you're the Christ, Son of God. And when he said this, she went her way. Then he spoke to Mary. And then in the verse 35, he cried. He wept over Lazarus.
He did in the 33rd, he groaned.
Pardon me?
In the 33rd verse, it said he groaned in the spirit.
He groaned and his spirit was troubled.
And he groaned when he
because of the weeping. Isn't that precious that Jesus groans in his spirit?
38th verse said he groaned.
Yes, he groaned, and he groaned in the spirit, was troubled. And, you know.
That's touching.
So, that's wonderful. The 11th chapter of is wonderful. Just a few thoughts there. I could go on, but I think that covers the verse 38, 39 is when he resurrects, he brings it.
But the napkin was wrapped around his face.
Somebody asked me that. I told them, I think Terry saying that I had not yet, had not refreshed myself on this.
44.
Verse 44. And he came forth bound in hand and foot with great clothes, and his face was bound about when his napkin was unfolded, wrapped around him. Altogether different than the resurrection of Jesus. And Jesus said, loose him and let him go. Of course, that's Lazarus is a picture of the world, the age that Jesus resurrected. They which sat in darkness saw a great light. Them which sat in the region and shadow of death, light was sprung up. Matthew 4 and 17. After 4 days, the world was stinking. The age was stinking. First Adam was stinking. Mankind was stinking. He's stinking. You know, they said he's been dead 4 days. See, if Jesus had been dead 4 days and had not resurrected, it would have been an abomination unto God. He would have been stinking. But Jesus could not be in that condition because he was a sweet-smelling savor unto God. He was not an abomination. He was not stinking in the sight of God because he only was there 3 days. But the world, Lazarus, the age, the nation of the Judaism and the Gentiles, they were stinking. They were stinking. They were corruptible. first man, Adam, sin nature, the fallen nature, it was an abomination, it was stinking. And that God had to resurrect or save the remnant out of it and began the church age, the first church, the early church, and take away that abomination, take away that reproach. Carol?
The scripture tells us that from Adam to Moses, death reigned. But really it reigned all the way up for those boys. Death reigned all through the law. For the law made nothing perfect, but the bringing of a better hope did, by which we draw nigh. Really, death reigned for 4,000 years there, not 2,000 years.
What is that verse you're quoting in Romans 5? Death reigned from Adam to Moses. And then what you're saying, Sister Carol, is covered in the rest of that. Let me get that over there. Romans
Even over
5.
them that had not sinned.
Well,
It's 14, 5 and 14.
verse, what is it?
5 and 14.
Death reigned from Adam to Moses. Let's get verse 14 to clarify it very good. Now here's where Carol was going with this. Here's where she was going. Even to them that had not sinned, after the similitude of the likenesses of Adam's transgression, even those people that lived above. And this shows under the law there were people that did not live in the rebellion that Adam had in the garden. They had sinned because sin was in the first covenant. Perfection was not in the early covenant, the law. Perfection was not in the law. But they didn't sin after the rebellion of Adam's sin. They didn't have iniquity in their spirit. Adam had iniquity in his spirit. The reason Adam was judged so severely of God was because he had he just didn't commit an act, but he said, I will. 5 times he said, I will sin. I will be like unto the Most High God. He very arrogant, very exalted, Lucifer, the Lucifer spirit. But he said, now even to those that didn't sin after the likeness of Adam's transgression, who is the figure of him that was to come. So he just didn't cover from Adam to Moses, but even to them that lived after the law period, 1,500 years, and they lived in the day of the prophets and the judges, and lived on down until Malachi, when the law was not, they were in captivity. They couldn't even practice the full measure of the law. But yet, death reigned. In other words, everyone died. No one lived under the covenant of the law, or even to them that lived outside that period. They didn't transgress, just like Adam transgressed. So it was true. It wasn't just them that lived in the law. It was those that lived even outside the law. In fact, did that concur with what you were seeing there? Okay, Sister Marlow, it's about that time for you in the choir. And so it's almost what time?
4:02.
It was 10 to 8.
Oh, my, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you sorry?
I looked at my watch a moment ago and it wasn't that late.
A moment.
All right, choir, forgive me. May God bless you.
Praise the Lord.
Thank you for coming.